Hi there, thanks for joining us today, and it is my pleasure to have a chat to Marie Dyhrberg. Hi Marie, nice to have you here.
Thank you, Stephen, and thank you for the invite.
Oh, you're welcome. Look, Marie is a QC and also the president of the Auckland District Law Society, so it's great to have you here and just get your thoughts, about what you're observing or what you're feeling at the moment, because of course, with COVID, there's been lots of change and ways of working that we didn't think we might have worked before, but just equally, what your observation have been over the last couple of years, but perhaps where you see the future.
Well, I think one of the most exciting changes when we've sat back and ticked various boxes is the number of women and the number of other practitioners from different cultures and races who are now appearing in the courts. That's my specialty, is the court work. Now, for example, we had a big appeal last week before the Court of Appeal, major homicides, and within that, every single participant, the lawyers for the Crown, there were three. There were three for my client, there were two for the other client, all women. Great. All appearing in major homicide proceedings. We have the previous Chief Justice is female, the current is Chief Justice, the head of the High Court is female. We're now getting women who are Crown solicitors, which is something very, very new. We are now seeing people from different ethnic races who are appearing before the courts and obviously in the area of criminal law. So as we look around and see diversity, it is very exciting. There's been quite a move, I think, certainly in the past 6-7 years.
Isn't that great? That's really reassuring to hear, Marie. That's really is something.
Yes,
yeah.
And I think that we've always had more females in the graduates for a number of years. What we want to see is women staying in the profession, really, so that they do get to the top.
Yeah, absolutely, I concur. So as you're seeing, it sounds like some really positive movement. Equally, where do you see some of the challenges lay looking ahead as well?
In my area of law, I can specify some things that we look at and say this area or this legislation or this practice brings about incredible injustices for people appearing in the court. One of the ones that first comes to mind is everybody screams out and says immediate abolition of the 3 strikes regime. It is so unfair, it is so unjust, it is so draconian. It should never be on anybody's legislation. And that's the one thing then, when I used to go to seminars overseas, Americans in particular say, whatever you do, do not introduce such a regime. And these were judges who were saying they had to mete out real injustice. The parole board, we need a huge revamp in the thinking and the facilities that are available in parole. And when you think about it, you have people who go into prison. At the prison gate, you know what they need. Is it drugs? Is it violence? Is it sexual? Is it fraud? What is it? And those people immediately should be going into the proper regime of rehabilitation. Yeah. They're not. They're turning up to their first parole hearing and they have not been able to take part in any of those rehabilitations as well. Other areas of law that certainly should be taken into account is the Bail Act. The Bail Act is very, very unjust. The reverse owners has accounted for a lot more people being in prisons now. So that people have to say, this is why I should get bail. The law should be, this is why you shouldn't get bail, and you answer that. So that, of course, is increasing the prison population. We have escalated the number of people in our prisons since the advent of so-called bail amendments,
Right.
bringing about reform.
Yeah. No.
So we've got challenges. We want more restorative justice. We want to think Marie justice, Pacific Island tailored
Yes.
suggestions, all of this, because we're not there to punish. We really are there to stop recidivism. And we've got to bring about all these changes.
Yeah, great to hear. And of course, with that, doesn't there come some opportunities as well? So your thoughts about what some of the great opportunities might be?
I think some of the opportunities very much is to bring about a lot of us getting together across the table. Let's get together with the Corrections Department, the Ministry of Justice, Defence Bar, the Prosecution Bar, and let's nut out some of these very serious issues together. And let's change our thinking. We have a lot of people who they have addictions, but they also have concurrent mental health issues. We know that. So how are we going to bring this about? We should have those specialist courts, and we should all be understanding and working together. So I think that group cooperation and understanding each other would be a great way of changing your mindset, changing the way of thinking, and moving ahead.
Absolutely.
And for society, it's got to be great.
Yeah, totally. Wins all round, aren't there?
Absolutely.
So, Marie, if you were giving some advice to some of our young law professionals coming through, what advice would you give them?
One is, I would say, do not go into criminal law if it's not something in your heart and that you're passionate about, because it's highs and lows. It is a very exciting area of law. Everybody wants to know about criminal law, and you just watch all these programs on TV. But when you lose and you see somebody, their families destroyed, and you don't make the progress that you want to, that can really hurt. That can that can make you think, oh, why do I get up and do this? When you win and you achieve changes, I think that judges have got to be given discretion. You cannot make mandatory requirements for them, such as this recent sexual violence bill that we've fought so hard to stopping. But judges should have more discretion. But I say to young lawyers, tag along, get those savings in the bank. You won't make much money for the first year or so. Turn up, carry the books, get involved with a barrister who's appearing in court. They'll love to have you there. They'll get you sitting up the front. They'll involve you in trials. But because a lot of the cases, and the more exciting cases, they are legal aid, the pay is very poor. And in those long nights when suddenly something happens and you've got to suddenly work and cancel all your wonderful social events that you had planned, if the passion is not there, if you don't go home and cry, or if you don't walk out of courts and high five and eureka and so forth, you're not going to last.
Yeah, good advice. And so, Marie, some of your own personal hopes, you have been a great advocate for many and, had a lot of influence in law. So for you, what are some of your hopes?
I hope that we open up to allow a lot more students to get into law school, because there are a number of students out there. You might have single parents who have commitments to children. They cannot go and sit in the library 7 days a week to get the A pluses. But boy, have they got a lot to bring into the law. And I would like to see a lot more students, mature students, a lot more B students getting into law school, because the law is ever changing.
Mm.
In my day, when we first sort of went into law, all you could look forward to was join a law firm, unless like me, you opened your own law firm. And then that was it, you know,
Yeah.
go to partnership. But I say to all young students, go and look at the job vacancies overseas. Look at Canada and the States and the UK, even Europe, and you will see vacancies for an area of law that you think, wow, I never even knew that existed.
Mm.
And just broaden the scope that you can engage in law, and plan on travel,
Yeah.
because you will then learn what areas of law that will actually light you up and get you passionate.
Yes. Oh, Marie, look, thank you. Your insights are marvelous, and I still sense your great passion and your great enthusiasm. So it is marvelous to see and hear. You know, I'm sure many of the battles that you fought and how you've traversed law. So it is so rewarding to hear you speak
Yeah.
with the enthusiasm that you do.
Not at all, Stephen. It's a great profession.
Yes, indeed. Hey, well, look, thank you for your
Thank you.
time. Much appreciated. And that's Marie and I signing off.
Thanks, Stephen.